champions in 58, 62, and 70, the Pele team, champions in 94, the last time the US hosted a World Cup. Between 1970 to 1994, there was a 24-year gap. They last won in 2002 in Japan and Korea. 2002 to 2026 is also a 24-year gap. Could this be the moment for Brazil to once again, in a US hosted World Cup, overcome a 24-year gap and win another trophy? Take it away.
God, I hope so. I don't think so.
66 was a great year for English football. And then on the backside of the ad, it said Eric was born. Of course, referring to the great Eric Cantona.
I
Pickford
think
is in
if we can
goal.
just talk about Harry Kane for a minute,
Sure, go for it.
is he perhaps the greatest English player of all time?
Welcome to the Dugout as we continue our World Cup preview with me, the usual crowd, Mustafa and AZ for DawnNews English. How are you guys? Good?
Man, yeah. This
Just 3 weeks to the World Cup.
3 weeks to the World
Anticipation
Cup.
building nicely.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with Spain. Spain, of course, champions in 2010, that all-conquering team, capstone by, of course, that magnificent Barcelona team of the early 2010s. But after reaching the round of 16, the last 2 years, they initially, right after the winning the World Cup, got grouped, and then the round of 16 back to back. This is not a vintage Spanish team. The manager is, relatively unknown, and Luis de la Fuente. Still a Barcelona and Real Madrid heavy, but not as heavy as in years past. The big name, of course, Lamine
Sprinkle a bit of
Yamal.
Arsenal and City in there.
yeah.
Correct. The big name, of course, Lamine Yamal, but he will definitely miss the first group game, maybe the second group game. They're in a group with Saudi Arabia, Uruguay, and Cape Verde in Group H. Let's talk about this team. To me, the big issue for them is who is their number nine. They don't have a traditional number nine. Uh, you know, Ferran Torres will probably play initially for Lamine Yamal. Dani Almo will probably play for Fermin. Obviously, Pedri and Rodri will anchor that midfield, and then, but who's actually going to score the goals if it's not coming from the wings? Gentlemen, your thoughts on the Spanish?
Is I just feel sometimes with at least with the Spanish team, it's like almost like Yamin and Pedri, inshallah almost. Because like yes, there is obvious quality all around the pitch mostly, but those are your two really star players in my opinion, right? Like those are the two players who have to do really well for you to win the World Cup.
Yeah, they have to do well for you to win the World Cup. No question
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, but
Easy, your
still they have
thoughts?
so much overall strength in their squad. I mean, I love Danny Olmo, the way he plays for Spain in particular in that four, number nine slash 9.5 sort of role. I'm a big fan of him. So he'll certainly have a lot of weight to bear. And but you've got so much quality in the side with, Zubimendi, you've got David Raya, Cucurella, you've got Kubasi, you've got Danny Olmo, Dean House and Laporte. I mean, the names go on and on and on and on. So I think they will, of course, it's a very easy group as well for them. Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia, Uruguay is not what they used to be. So, like you mentioned, they do have problems when it comes to the knockout stage, especially scoring goals. They don't concede a lot, but they don't score a lot. And when it comes down to penalties, it's always a lottery. They've had plenty of penalty luck in the past. So let's see if that continues in 2026 as well. But they will be one of the contenders. We just saw the way they played a magnificent Euro a couple of years ago as well. But of course, no Lamine Yamal is going to be a massive effect. So let's see what their coach has cooking when they don't have him on the pitch. And Pedri, of course, will have to lead the line. We did mention capstone players who could capture the World Cup, and Pedri is certainly right up there.
So you brought up an interesting name, David Raya, because their coach has actually preferred Unai Simon in goal instead of David Raya to that. So that'll be interesting. And then they have this young
And
kid.
he's a very,
Uh,
very good goalkeeper in his own
Yeah.
right, to
Correct.
be
He
fair.
is. He is. You have this young kid in his own right who plays for Palace, Jeremy Pirro. Could he be one of these people off the bench that takes off some of the pressure of Lamine Yamal? Because it's not easy to come back from an injury and go into the melting pot of the furnace of a World Cup and start from scratch. You saw historically David Beckham and Wayne Rooney struggle to come back from injuries to then hit the ground running in the World Cup.
But they do have an easier group stage, and then like as you have said before, Sadibai, they've had it's a round of 32 before a round of 16 this time. So he has enough. He'll have about like so even if he misses, let's say he misses the first two games, right? He will still have about 3 games to get his feet under him before he's probably needed in the round of 16.
No, that's a fair point. All right, from Spain, let's go to their neighbors across the Pyrenees to the north, the French. Obviously, winners in 98, winners in Russia in 2018, runners up in 2022 in an amazing final, of course. We remember that. Um,
And also runners up in 2006 and also an amazing final.
An amazing
One
final,
of
correct. Obviously, Didier Deschamps back again as coach. They're in Group I with Senegal, Iraq, and Norway. So not the toughest group. Obviously, plethora of attacking advantages. Kylian Mbappe, Ousmane Dembele, who's your current Ballon d'Or winner, Desiree Doué. Olise, underrated, but has had a very good season for Bayern. To me, the issue is the midfield. Rabiot, eh. Tchouaméni has had an up and down season for Real Madrid, and then who do they pick between Tchouaméni, Camavinga, and of course Rabiot in that midfield three? Defense is stacked. Saliba, of course, Upamecano, well known for Bayern, Jules Koundé. They have strength and depth up and down. It's just a matter of does Deschamps take off the handbrake, and how does that midfield do in this World Cup?
It's very annoying to me because like I understand pragmatism won them the World Cup in 2018, but man, imagine you have you're left back and you have to deal with Olise for a while, and then Olise goes off, and then you have Desert Doué come on for him. Like the amount of like attacking depth they have, it should like uh they should not. You
Sorry,
should yeah.
you're assuming Olise like Due is not going to start ahead of
No, no,
Olise.
no, I know, but like let's say Doué starts or Olise starts
Even
because
like somebody like Barcola coming off the bench, man.
exactly, Barco. You have so much depth in attack. It's ridiculous, right? When I'm forgetting players, right?
And big game nows as well. These are players who've now played
Mm.
in two Champions League finals
Yeah.
for PSG in Bradley Barcola and Desiree Doué and so on and so forth. AZ,
And
your
Usman
thoughts?
Dembele. We haven't even mentioned Dembele properly. Like you have
We
Dembele, you have Kylian Mbappe, who had one of the most transcendent performances I've ever seen in my lifetime, from minute 80 to minute 120 in that World Cup final. Like I And then you have Ousmane Dembele, who has been on an absolute tear and has been arguably the best player in the world for the last 2 years as your top two attackers. Like it is
And they have
ridiculous.
that number 9 with Mateta as well, which would
Yeah,
allow Mbappe off the ball, like you
yeah.
mentioned, to compensate for that weakish midfield. If you say even though Rabiot is very solid, and Deschamps really seems to like him,
Uh,
and he's a bit of a roving LCM on that left flank as well. He can get a few crosses in as well, and he has a good engine. So if Mbappe is playing at the left wing position, you've got Mateta as the spear, and whoever you like at right wing forward, then it's party time on that wing, man.
The other advantage for the French is as you go into knockout stages, minute 70, 80 onwards, they have so much talent to bring on to get that
Exactly.
additional
yeah.
goal. Or if they go into injury time to score that goal to prevent it to go from the basically Russian roulette, that is penalty shootout. All right. Many years ago, Nike had this great ad. And you guys, Mustafa, you're probably too young to remember this, but Izzy, you might remember this. And it was a red picture with a English cross of St. George's, and it said
Mm.
66 was a great year for English football. And then on the backside of the ad, it said Eric was born, of course, referring to the great Eric Cantona for Manchester United. But 66 was, of course, the greatest year for English football when Al Ramsey's side won a home World Cup. And since then, they've been waiting for football to come home. 30 years
Mm.
ago, when before England hosted Euro 96, um, they had that very famous song come out, It's Coming Home by Badiou and Skinner, gets played all the time. And so, gentlemen, new coach now under Thomas Tuchel. This is an England team which uh, reached the semis in 2018, and then in 2022, unfortunately, got knocked out to France in the quarterfinal. A very good quarterfinal. Better team probably won. Gareth Southgate left. Thomas Tuchel now takes over. Is it coming home, boys?
Well, it's truly now or never if they can't get it done. I mean, look at the depth. You're three men deep at every position. You
Hmm.
got young, exciting talent with the likes of Morgan Rogers and this and that. And even Harvey Barnes for Newcastle. I'm a big fan of that young kid. He's very good. Adam Wharton as a young tie coming in midfield. There is news that Harry Maguire is apparently not going to make the cut. So, as two United fans, I'd love to get your take on it.
So let's go through this. So obviously Harry Kane would lead the line, and then
He said also
Yes.
this
that, let's just mention again. Harry Kane has arguably been the best striker in the world since he also went at Bayern. Like he's still
correct. He
amazing.
has maintained it. So obviously Harry Kane will lead the line, and
I
Pickford
think
is in
if we can
goal.
just talk about Harry Kane for a minute,
Sure, go for it.
is he perhaps the greatest English player of all time? He has to be up
Not of
there.
all time. Bobby
Bobby
Charlton,
Charlton and
obviously.
Bobby Moore, and I don't
Bob,
know
Bobby
what
Bobby,
these
Moore,
people, but
Both
Bobby
Bobbies.
Charlton won a World Cup. He captained a team to a Champions League when it was not the
let's say
Champions League.
modern era, let's say that.
And of course, he came out of the wreckage of 1958 to captain Manchester United. Modern era, you'd have to, has he achieved more than, say, a David Beckham and a Wayne Rooney?
What has
Possibly.
Beckham achieved?
Beckham, serial Champions League winners.
I'm saying
Serial,
no. I think what he means, what I think AZ particularly
as
means,
a footballer, forget
as a
that
no,
you're doing that NBA thing by counting rings. It's
no,
not
no,
Fine,
about
fine.
rings.
no. I
As
think AZ is saying is what has he done for England, right?
for
For
England, then
England.
That
yes,
as well.
Kane.
Yeah, yeah,
Harry
yeah.
Kane has been there all time. He's been a captain, all-time leading goal scorer now. So he's definitely in the conversation of the greatest English football players of
I
all
think
time.
that conversation, like, of course, if they win the
In
World Cup this
modern,
year, then it's
let's
done.
do
Then it's done.
correct. Then
Yeah,
it's done.
yeah.
I give you that. But speaking
Okay,
of the
back to
actual
Maguire.
team,
Yeah.
speaking of the actual team, I think the only two positions that you know of is basically Pickford in goal, Kane up top. Because if you go with the defense, do they go with a Gahey and a Mark Konsa? Do they drop Harry Maguire? Who plays on the fullbacks? Is it going to be Nico and then Reece, or do they put in a Shaw? What happens to Trent? What happens to Livermento, who you mentioned
But
the
these
other
are
day?
all wonderful luxuries to
Are
have, dog.
correct.
Yeah.
But Tuchel has to at least get them to mesh. And then the midfield is a complete crapshoot because
But
fine,
I don't
Mhm.
you
know
pro
I don't know who you pick, man. There's
so
so
you Jude
But
is
Rice is
is
playing that, we know for
so
sure.
Rice and Jude are definitely playing. Then, but who plays next to them? Do you put in a Cole Palmer? Is it going to be Anderson? Uh,
is it Kobe
you know,
Mainu as well? Is it like they
is
you
it Mainu? There's a lot of
If
variations.
Menu started in 2024, oh, different coach though. Yeah.
yeah,
Different
different
coach.
co
And then who is your backup striker? Is it going to be a Welbeck? Is it going to be Ollie Watkins? Is it going to be Calvert-Lewin? There's a
I think
lot of
Watkins has done
choices.
been prolific enough to,
yeah.
He has, or Ivan Toney. There's a lot of choices that Tuchel has to make to get that dressing room right because England historically, it's been the off the field sort of stuff that sometimes
Mm.
lets them down, and the pressure really gets to
As
them.
Gerard said himself, yeah.
Correct. Their group is easy, right? Croatia, Ghana, Panama, not a difficult group. What
I
do
don't
you?
think it's that straightforward, dog.
I
Croatia,
think
they're going to be hard to
Croatia
beat.
will
Ghana,
be hard to beat,
yeah.
but they should finish top two easily.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have these fringe players. What do you do with a Phil Foden? What do you do with an Eze?
Uh,
It won't be easy to get the mesh right. And
who starts
they're
on the
they're
right for them? Is it still
so
going to
good
be
question. Are you going to have
who's
Saka and
is it going to
Rashford
be?
flanking Harry Kane? He's got to get it right because he's tried a lot of experimentations in the friendlies and they haven't performed well. England's had a lot of sloppy games, a lot of sort of, they've been
They had that horrible result at Wembley just recently in March. When they lost 1-0. We talked about it in the other preview. Was it to Japan? Who was
Mm.
it? Was to
yeah,
Yeah.
they've had some very pedestrian thingies. So it'll be interesting to see the final 11 that they come
It's
up with.
important to get the guys in form in their, in the right role.
Yep.
That's very important.
If
Yeah.
at least for me, like from a totally neutral standpoint for me, right?
Yeah,
From what
totally neutral. Yeah.
no. I'm being very honest. I'm not even saying a United player now. If I had to pick one player to be that third person in that midfield trio with Rice and Jude,
Maybe you can play a 4-2-3-1 with all that attack, man.
yeah. But in my
Rogers at 10, he's been doing
yeah,
well.
yeah. But I was thinking, no. I was thinking you do. I think. Have you seen how good Elliot Anderson is playing? Like, have you
Yes.
been seeing how good Elliot Anderson has been playing? It
You
is.
you buying him for 100 plus if you're Manchester United?
If I was Manchester United, yes, no question asked. But I'm not. But I'm not Jason Wilcox, right?
But fans
I'm
never
not.
care about transfer fees. They just want the
Yeah,
player. So,
yeah, yeah. But like he's like I watched him like
Just
uh
the other game
just the other
against
game, right?
United, 2-2.
He was like, I say this as like Bruno was there as well. Like, I felt he was the best player on the pitch. Like, he was
Nah,
good.
he had two assists, but Casemiro and Kobe Minu ran him off the park there. He had two assists to Morgan Rogers, but
Yeah, I thought
United controlled that midfield. They could have
I
scored. United had like 30 shots on goal.
no, I still think like he was really good, man. I
Problem
still
with the
think
young guys is AZ, they go for the GAs and
I'm
he
not
sees
going
his
for
two
the
assists
GS. I am not
for
going for
Elliot
the GS.
Anderson and he doesn't see the rest of the game. The 50 shots taken. Anyway, let's move
I'm
on
not going
from
for the
England.
GS. I was a
no, but
I
tactically, what should the setup be? Because is it 4-2-3-1 or is it four
It'll,
three three or is it, is it three at the back? There's a lot of questions to answer there.
there are a lot of questions, and I think the best way for him to play is a 4-2-3-1. Play
yeah.
Yeah.
Rice and Bellingham there, and then Rashford, Palmer, and Saka
But
if Saka's
Bellingham as a
healthy.
holding mid rather than a 10
I know.
behind Rogers or Cole Palmer, that's a
I
lot of
don't
pressure on Rice.
I don't see a place for Cole Palmer. But remember World Cup paces. It's a
Come
slower
on.
pace than the Premier League. It's not as fast,
Yeah.
so should be okay. All right, from England, let's move
So we didn't
to.
solve anything here.
We
Nah.
didn't
Just one
solve
question.
it. It's for
I feel
Tam Tuchel to solve.
That's
is
for
this is
Thomas Tuchel.
is this just 2006 again, where they had to play Scholes out wide?
Not
Uh,
Scholes. What's his name? Gerrard used to play out wide.
Gerrard, yeah.
No, it's
He
okay, sorry.
couldn't. Well, I mean, Capello couldn't figure out how to play Gerrard, Scholes, and
No, one
Lampard
of
in the
the
Lampard.
don't
midfield.
don't don't get me on a rant about that dude. I
Let's
don't want to talk
let's
about him.
let's move on.
He is
Let's
equally despised in Italy, at least by Juve fans.
Yeah.
let's move on from England to their old nemesis. Obviously, they beat them in '66. The Germans. The Germans, of course, winners in '54,
Mm.
winners in '74, winners in '90, winners in '14. Of course, we remember that fantastic goal by Mario Götze in at the end of that World Cup in Brazil, and of course that 7-1 hammering there. Julian Nagelsmann took over after they got grouped in the last two World Cups, both in 2022 and in
Humiliating.
2018. So this is a different team. To me, it starts and ends with the issues at number nine. Can Kai Havertz, as your number nine, score enough goals? There's a lot of talent there between Musiala. Obviously, Wirtz has had a very iffy season with Liverpool. Um, but with Sane, with Goretzka, with Joshua Kimmich, with the Walter Maid for Newcastle, there's a lot of talent there, but they don't have that number nine to put the ball into the net. And will that be their Achilles heel? They're in Group E with Ivory Coast, Ecuador, and Curacao. So reasonably easy group. But to me, that's the biggest issue with Germany.
Would they? Do you think that did they pick Voltemade for their for their
Yeah, yeah,
for
he's
their,
there. He's there.
Yep.
so like so
Yep.
if he's there, he's gonna
They didn't
probably
pick
play.
Serge Gnabry's not there.
Yeah.
Serge Gnabry's not. I think they'll have a short leash for Kai Havertz because even with Arsenal this year, he didn't score a bunch of goals.
Yeah.
Gyökeres did a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying like, do you not just put Voltemade up front and just like let him be the number? He
Nine,
wasn't.
nine, nine. No way.
I think they start with Havertz.
Havertz, man, come on. He did well in the last year, I remember.
Yeah. And like, okay, so like this is the thing.
And Havertz has the knack of scoring iconic goals. We
He
saw for
does,
Chelsea,
and
now for
he does,
Arsenal.
and like he. Okay, as much like, yes, Gawker has got the goals, but like Havertz does make them play better. Like, I've seen them play
He's a
better.
very fine player. It's just
Yeah.
he's inconsistent and injury
Yeah,
prone. That's his only
yeah.
problem.
No, I've liked him since he was where was he before? Before even Chelsea.
Mönchengladbach.
Yeah, I liked him since then. I've really been disappointed in how he's not like, ascended to be one of these star players. But I've always liked him, and I do think he does make Arsenal play much better football when he's on the pitch.
Their problem actually lies in midfield because they're still persisting with Joshua Kimmich and Goretzka is still around. But other than that, it's a lot of unknown players. Angelo Stiller, Nadim Amiri,
I
Pascal
like Stiller.
Gross, Pavlovic. He's a good player. He's had a very good
Can
season.
Wirtz
But
have a renaissance? Do you think Wirtz can regain some of
plus,
that
he's a
form that he had?
beast. He's a beast with Germany, Florian Wirtz. He's unbelievable with them.
He was a completely different player for Liverpool. I don't know if that's an Arne Slot issue or what. It's interesting to see.
Yeah.
They shouldn't get grouped. If they get
They
grouped
should
this
have a
time
deep
around,
run, a decent run.
there's bigger issues at play then.
But it just feels
Uh,
like another team that was on the decline. Now it's in transition. 2030, I think, will really be the year of the German team coming
the
on.
German
This
team
maybe if they get a deepish
too
run, they'll
soon.
be fairly happy. Yeah, yeah.
I think quarters they would be happy with. I don't see them making the semis. Quarters they would be happy
Maybe,
with.
yeah. Depends on the situation. Yeah.
All right, from the four-time winners of Germany, let's go to the five-time winners and the only team to have competed in every
Mm.
single World Cup. Of course, we're talking about Brazil, champions in 58, 62, and 70, the Pelé team. Champions in 94, the last time the US hosted a World Cup. Between 1970 to 1994, there was a 24-year gap. They last won in 2002 in Japan and Korea. 2002 to 2026 is also a 24-year gap. Could this be the moment for Brazil to once again, in a US hosted World Cup, overcome a 24-year gap and win another trophy? Take it away.
God, I hope so. I don't think so. Like that's what I have. Like I really hope they do because I just for the sake of world football, as like Asia said a couple of times, Brazil needs to be good, man. Like when Brazil is good, world football is better. Like they add so much flair to the game. They add so much excitement to the game. And when like since that 2014 dredging in the semi-final, right? It has been such a seismic shift in their national team that it's like they almost like
Almost affected their national psyche, that loss.
yeah.
It's
There was
almost like
also there
It's
was
put
they
also
them
never
off kilter
overcame
since
it.
then. Yeah, yeah.
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 yeah,
I
and
mean,
it's
You
let's
look
be
at the
honest though.
squad, I think they are lacking a bit in the fullback position with Alexandro.
yeah.
He's
Yep.
ex-Juve, he's like in his mid-30s, but he's not been the really gung-ho going forward sort of fullback that we're used to from Brazil. But you've got Wesley, he's pretty decent for Roma. He's had a good season. Midfield, you have those defensive mids with Fabinho, Casemiro, Bruno Guimaraes. Then you've got Lucas Paqueta adding a bit of fantasy. But then that forward line, I mean, take your pick of all these killers, man. Vinicius, you've got Rafinha, Neymar, of course, will be inspirational as well. Maybe they'll have to pick and choose the moments where they use Neymar. It would be interesting to see if he comes off the bench. But that's very unlikely. Probably the likes of
He's
Cunha and
gonna be
Endrick.
starting at 10, bro. You know he's
He's
gonna
going
be
to
No,
be
start.
starting,
He's
and
gonna be
they're
starting
going
at
to
Willie,
run
10.
him into the
is he
ground.
going to be starting? I think you go with Vinicius, Endick,
You can't bench him. I think there'll be like a riot, man, if they
Yeah,
bench
no,
him. You know.
I think they'll
and
put Vinicius.
Rafinha.
They'll put Vinicius
Vinny,
at
Rafinha, and Endick, no? And Cunha and Neymar
Endrick is there.
sitting off the
Matthias Cunha
bench?
is there.
yeah.
Igor Thiago is probably the proper
I
number,
do you
central
feel
forward.
bad for João Pedro or no?
No. He
Oh, I
didn't
don't
have a
like
great
him.
season for Chelsea. And where does he
I
fit?
think they voted him best player for them, which is saying something, but they didn't
Yeah,
vote him as the best player.
yeah. Which is just like
But Igor Thiago is fine, man. I mean, if you
no,
just
Yeah,
I
want
like
somebody to
Thiago's
poke
Thiago.
the
fine.
ball into,
Thiago is
he's
like
fine.
he can connect the play. We just big guy who can hold the ball up, which is like
The
what
one
I feel Richarlison is unlucky because he performs well for the Seleção at World
he
yeah,
Cups.
does.
yeah. I
The
think what
one thing
because
I will say is that Ancelotti is a champion man manager. He's a big game guy,
That's
yeah,
his
big
calling
tournament
card.
guy.
Yes.
yeah,
And between with Gabriel and Marquinhos, you know that defensively they'll be solid. Yes, fullbacks, your point is valid. Their fullbacks are weak,
yeah.
but they should have enough to at least get out of the group with Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland. And then after
Oh
that,
yeah.
the attacking firepower should be there they'll have fans
Mm.
galore in the US. Um,
Mm.
it should be enough to at least, you know, take the next
It
step.
does feel like a Brazilian summer, to be honest.
Yeah,
Thodi si vibe aa rahi hai. I'm getting that feeling.
yeah, it's just
All
like
right, so
it's
if
one last thing about them is that they also have one of the best shit houses in football who is probably going to come off the bench for them and who is a great person to have, and I have seen him save so many games for my team this season in Matthias Cunha. And because like he legitimately is a master at
Bro, he's not gonna
wasting.
get any playing time. What are
No,
you kidding
he
me?
should
Come
be
on, no
waste.
chance.
Him as a super sub is the way to go. You don't see the vision.
Martinelli, Endrick, Vinicius, and so many guys
they have
ahead
a
of him.
lot of
It's very
talent. All right,
difficult.
Yeah.
here's a question for you guys. If Carlo Ancelotti adds a World Cup title to his Champions League
Mm.
titles, his league
Mm,
titles in for Chelsea in the Premier League, for Milan in in Serie A, obviously for Real Madrid, is he the greatest modern manager of all time?
You can't argue with those
Yeah,
trophies, man. You just can't.
right? If he
Winning
adds
the
a World
Champions League
Cup,
in Milan, Chelsea, the Premier Leagues, you had a World Cup like you mentioned. You can't argue with that. I mean, fair
Don
enough, Franz
Carlo,
Beckenbauer did it, and Lippi also won Champions League and World Cup, but that's something else, man.
he's done.
something else, right?
He would have done it in basically every single top, except for like he wouldn't have done it in France, right?
He
Uh,
won the league with
No,
France, I believe.
he won it with PSG. He didn't win a
Mm,
Champions League with PSG, but he
yeah,
won
he
Ligue
won.
1.
He won Riga. Like he's basically done it in every big league possible. Like
unbelievable.
he's just
And we fired him in '99 because we thought he wasn't good enough.
that's just like
His career is interesting because he went to Everton and it looked like his career was sort of falling off, and then he's had this renaissance in his career where
Unbelievable.
he's
Look at
just,
Mourinho. I mean, he's still alive and kicking and just got the Madrid gig. I mean, it's
no.
insane.
I mean,
So by the way, Mourinho has basically unofficially announced that the Madrid gig is probably his last gig.
Are छोड़ो. He's
he'll
the
go
ultimate
somewhere
salesman
else.
for himself.
Yeah,
Of course. He
Saudi
still has to coach
League,
Portugal, man.
Turkish
Where are you going?
League, Portugal. There'll be lots. I mean, do we really think Roberto Martinez is gonna be Portugal's manager long term? Come on.
Yeah, it does.
All
It
right.
does. It does drive me insane how like Ronaldo never asked for Mourinho to at least come and coach him once for Portugal, at least.
Because he can't be the biggest ego in the room, huh?
Correct.
Uh,
And I think Mourinho is the right manager for Portugal in a post-Cristiano era as well.
Yeah.
He's Mourinho. He may not know how to win
You
league.
never know with the way Ron is proceeding. He might even want to hang around till 2030.
I mean, like let's be.
Yes. Year 23.
Is it year? What year would it be then? Because like he started in what?
2004 was when Cristiano, no, that was his first Euro. Wait,
No,
when did he
Euro.
remerge?
Remember the Euro 2004 with England,
2002? When
Portugal
when
with
did the,
England,
well, when
Portugal with
did this
Rooney and
Alex
Cristiano.
Ferguson see him? Yeah, when was it?
It was the 2004 window, right? Where
Yeah,
he got.
2003 window going into 2004, because into the 2004 World
So it
Cup
is
where
year
Rooney
23.
got Rooney
Yeah,
got red carded, he was already with Manchester United.
yeah. Because like because like
Crazy.
he basically so like what age, so I just saw an insane stat. What if it depends on how insane do you think it is? So Messi is at that age at what Ronaldo was when he came back to United and scored all those goals for us in that horrible United team.
Mm.
That 1 year, yep.
Yeah, when he was like
Sort of
36, 37, which is still
Yeah,
like
but
that's
Messi was juiced throughout his whole career, so it makes sense, there's a drop off.
the you're talking about, of course, the Ollie Ragnick year.
yeah, like that 21, 22 season,
Yep,
which was
yep.
yeah.
All right, let's move on. The last co-host, Canada in Group B,
Mm.
with Bosnia, Qatar, and the Swiss. Managed, of course, by American Jesse Marsh. There was some questions about why the U.S. hired Pochettino instead of Jesse Marsh. Jesse Marsh, of course, we all know him from his Premier League stints. Canada, lots of talent there. Alphonso Davies, of course, Jonathan David. Matches in Toronto and Vancouver. But I don't see them achieving much in this World Cup.
Yeah. I mean, because like Alfonso Davies is injured again, right? And like I heard that he was even contemplating retirement at some points this season, which is really sad because I like when he showed up like 5, 6 years ago, I thought he's incredible. He was one of the most exciting. He totally revolutionized that fullback position for like how fast he was and how exciting he made it. Um, I just sad to see him go, and like Jonathan
No,
David's
but
a
they got I can offer a Serie A perspective. Jonathan David, who joined Juve this year,
yeah,
he didn't have a great season, but you can see that he's got technique and he's got goals in him. There's no issue there. And of
yeah.
course, being the shining light, the leading light of the Canadian national team, maybe he'll rediscover his form. And then Ismail Kone, he's been wonderful for Sassuolo. I think he's been one of the outstanding young midfielders in Serie A this season. So they've got some decent juice, and the group like Bosnia, Qatar, and Switzerland. If they can draw with Switzerland, not lose there, I think they'll easily get into the top two and make it into the knockouts, I feel, especially playing at
Yeah,
home.
they need one result. They need one
Yeah.
win. And
Mm.
you expect maybe
I
the
mean, they
home
should
crowd.
beat Qatar at home. Come on.
That team is like that
That
Qatar team.
Qatar Canada team has a 1-1 written all over it.
This is gonna be so much. This is gonna be so many goalless draws and 1-1s, isn't it? This is gonna be so
All
many.
right,
Because
speak.
as far as I can recall from the last World Cup, going forward they were great, but they were just comical at the back. That
Correct.
was the
Yes,
problem with
that's the
Canada.
issue.
So
They
they
let
had
in a
goals,
lot of
but they
soft
had no
goals.
discipline. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
they let in a lot of soft goals, and maybe Jesse Marsh will help them with that. All right, speaking of Qatar, let's go to their neighbors to the south, of course, the Saudis. Round of
Mm.
16 in 1994, we remember that this guy Saeed Oran had that amazing goal against Belgium. If you remember, he got the ball
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
halfway
yeah.
line, had this amazing run. Um, so this team is different now because this is now uh, year 4 or 5 of the Saudi Pro League. Of course, Cristiano plays for Al Nassr. And the best players, Salim Dosri, I think he's their star for Al Hilal. Obviously, in Group H with that they're in with Uruguay and Spain and Cape Verde. This is a team and it's a group whereby you could see them coming second to Spain if they can just
Yeah.
beat Uruguay. I don't know how
I mean,
easy
if they
that
beat
is.
Argentina, they'll fancy themselves against
They'll
Spain as
fancy
well, if
themselves,
Yeah.
everything
correct?
goes right. Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, I just think they know how to be organized. They know they've probably taken so much from that Argentina result in 22. They are a very organized side. They actually do actually perform better at the World Cup level than than
Mm.
most teams, and like they should be fine. Like I don't know. They'll probably come
It's a
second. And
Uruguay game, basically, for
yeah,
them.
Yeah, it comes down to the Uruguay game, basically. So let's see how they do. All right, next, of course, AZ, the team that beat the Italians, Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Mm.
Uh, their second time in the World Cup after 2014, spearheaded by Edin Dzeko. They're in Group
Dzeko's still
B,
alive.
still going in Group
He's
B
still
with, of
banging
course,
them in, man.
Canada and the Swiss.
Yeah, I mean I don't know what to say
Yeah,
about
I
this.
had a good.
Yeah,
Obviously I had a much better look for them playing against Italy. They've got some good players. They've got this guy Alabegovic. He's a young teenage winger. He's very highly rated. Then you've got Moharemovic at playing for Sassuolo, a young centre back. He's a Juve youth product, but now he's been linked to Inter Milan because he's had a wonderful season. And of course you've got Edin Dzeko. They're very very solid in midfield. Don't have much going forward except with these few young wingers, and they're pretty good at the back as well with Moharemovic. So let's see if they can, be feisty. Maybe overcoming Switzerland and Canada. That playing at home could be a bit tricky, but I think they could be a best third kind of team and be difficult to beat. I think that's what comes to mind when it comes to BNH. And of course, you've got Kolasinac from Arsenal fullback as well. He's a bit
Yep.
long in the tooth, but still pretty decent. He's a good option to have at World Cup level, stoic left back. So I think there'll be a hard out for anybody taking them on in the World Cup.
There'll be a hard out. I do worry if this is one of those situations where they're just happy to be there. They weren't expecting to beat the Italians, and they sort of made it in the back end, and they're just sort of along for the
And
ride.
not just the Italians, they beat Denmark as well, which is a
They beat the
difficult team to
Danish as well.
overcome.
Correct. No question about it. All right, next up, the South Africans hosting, of course, 2010 in that fantastic World Cup. In Group A with Mexico, South Korea, and of course the Czech Republic, Bafana. They have a
Mm.
goal. Their biggest issue is, of course, they have a goalkeeper captain, but who's going to score the goals? A lot of these teams, that's where I think they'll struggle. I think
yeah,
they might be solid, they'll huff and puff, but at the end of the day, if you can't score goals, it's going to be very hard. A lot of nil-nils, a lot of
Well,
one
Lyle
nils.
Foster,
yeah.
Lyle Foster is not, exactly prolific at scoring goals.
You know what?
I don't see them coming out of that group. I
Yeah,
think the Mexico co-hosting is
yeah,
going to
yeah.
help them. The South Koreans are a very professional team now,
yeah,
and the Czech Republic is not easy either, or Czechia, I guess, is what we're
yeah.
supposed to
But
call them
just
now.
being back at a World Cup is a massive achievement for Bafana. I think they're just
It is,
overjoyed
yes.
just to be at the dance.
Yeah. I also like I just as we were talking about South Korea a couple of podcasts ago. We've talked about how like they're actually one team where I don't think they'll be at least in this group they'll have no problem scoring goals, right? Like they'll be able
Mm.
to control that
They
midfield as well.
should, yep.
Yeah.
But there's always surprises.
Yeah.
I do think the travel distances in the US is going to be sort of its own challenge. There's, 3 or 4 time zones It'll be interesting to see how teams sort of manage their jet lag and that sort of stuff. All right, last but not least, Curacao in Group E with Germany, Ivory Coast, and Ecuador, the smallest population ever to qualify for a World Cup, managed by Dick Advocaat, of course, ex of the
What a legend.
Netherlands. Yeah, and Mustafa, did you know they have a bunch of United
Yeah,
youth team players
I saw
in
Tahith Chong and I was like, I
Tae
have,
Jong and Kenji Gore as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
Couple
and
of
I was,
ex-United players who are there. But again, the big issue is scoring and preventing goals. I think they're just happy to be made to make it. Thrill for, of course, their fans. Hopefully, they can come across. It's a CONCACAF team, so within the region of North America, hopefully their fans get to come and experience it. If not, watch it on TV. It's a festival of nations, the World Cup, and
And Curacao
stories
has
like
a history of producing players for other nations, so why
it
not,
does. Correct. Former Dutch colony, of course, but
Exactly.
it's the teams like Curacao and Cape Verde that basically make this that special of an event, right?
wait a sec, if I'm not wrong, didn't Tahith Chong also represent the Netherlands at one point as well?
He did.
Probably switched over.
Yeah, he switched over. That's
Switched
what
over. Correct.
yes. So that's probably what happened because he probably,
He did an
because,
he did an Usman Khan
yeah, or Jofra Archer.
or
Yeah,
Jafar
Jofra
Archer.
never played for Barbados, though.
Jofra played
Or
for
did
the
he?
under. He played for the under 19s.
Really?
He played
Ah,
for the
yeah,
under.
yeah, yeah.
He played for the under 19s.
No, it'll be interesting to see. We covered a lot of big names
Today.
this year. All right. Question of the day: who is
Yeah.
the best player to have never played in a World Cup?
Never played in a World Cup.
We never
Never
played
played in
it.
a World Cup. So you have your George Best, your George Weahs, obviously, Ryan Giggs.
George Weah has to be up there. Ryan
George
Giggs, good one.
No,
Weah's
best.
never, yeah, Weah's never made it. Yeah.
Best is the best. Is he one? How many Ballon d'Or? Because he's won a Ballon
He
d'Or.
won one. He
He's
won
won
one
one in
Ballon d'Or.
He's
'94.
won. He won. Yeah, not in '94. What do you mean? Which '94? George.
No,
George
George
Weah.
Best.
George Weah.
George Weah. Weah
Yeah,
won.
yeah.
He's talking about George Best. George Best also won a Ballon d'Or.
He also won. Didn't he win multiple, if I'm not wrong?
He won. No, he won three, right? If I'm not wrong.
In the '60s.
Yeah, in the '60s. I thought he won three, didn't he? Sadibhai, you would be
That's a
better.
great question to ask. Ryan Giggs also has to be up there, even though he hasn't,
Ryan
gotten the
Giggs as well.
Ballon
Yep.
d'Ors. But
Yeah,
come on,
Giggs
has to be
is.
there.
Yeah, Giggs was like it depends on peak in best player. Like I love Giggs, right? I think he's still a very underrated player for still underrated by a lot of
Like, I'm
football
a
people.
massive United hater, but he was world class, man. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I know, but like everyone like tries to talk to me about other left wingers who are better than him, and I'm like, bro,
No,
he,
no, 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 no way.
there's
No
like
way.
there's a reason why he was there for 13 league titles. Like there was. I'm just saying there was a reason.
I'll give you two other United players who never played in a World Cup. Eric Cantona never played in a World Cup, and of course,
Oh,
Dimitar Berbatov never played in a World Cup either.
I miss. Oh, I love Burma, man. I love Burma and Cantona were basically very similar
I think we need to
players.
expand this discussion to like African players, Asian
Yeah,
players.
yeah,
Maybe some South Americans will be in the mix as well.
South America, I'm sure. Yeah, of
yeah.
course,
Well,
Duncan
this is a
Edwards never
good
played in a World Cup.
homework you've given us.
A lot
There
of
you go.
homework. Yeah,
Think
like
about
this
it.
is.
It's a good list, right? I was thinking, did
Because
Zlatan
Ali
ever play
Dai
in a
did play in 1998, so
Ali
Iran
Dai
was up there.
played.
Maybe,
Zlatan played. I thought maybe Zlatan
of course,
hadn't,
he
but
played.
Zlatan did play for Sweden. Didn't do anything, but he
Sweden
still
are
played.
always at World Cups.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
they rarely miss out.
No, but like the
Yeah.
question is like how many
Even
how
Stoichkov made it. Maybe
how
somebody from the USSR, maybe.
yeah how many
No,
Ballon d'Or?
USSR,
Yeah.
Nev Yashin and those guys made it all.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
Played
yeah.
regularly in the World Cups.
yeah. A question would be like how many Ballon d'Ors did not make the World Cup, right? Because you have like a couple with George Weah and George
Georgie
Best.
Best, yeah.
Yeah,
Or Giggs, of course, never won a Ballon d'Or. Obviously,
yeah,
Yeah.
Cantona never won a Ballon d'Or. Dimitar
yeah.
Plus, now
Berbatov.
that award is just a fan poll now. It doesn't matter.
Now it's just a fan poll. So.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
mean,
gentlemen, this was fun. We knocked out a lot of the big teams. It's wide open World Cup, no question about it. Especially
It's
after
gonna
you
be
deep
fun.
dive some of these teams, it'll be a fun World Cup.
Mm.
So thank you for joining us.